I just feel like I'm constantly being influenced by everyone around me. I think that what's happened online is like we've all morphed into one type of life. It has really just taken away original thought. Ideas that I do have that come to me through intuition, I am putting to the back burner because I see other people's ideas of what success looks like. I don't want to get distracted by other people's ideas of success or how they got to success. I want my own formula. I think that this necessitates breaks. So I am going on a digital detox for 1 month, which means I can't use Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube. These are all my main offenders for the entire month. I'm going on a digital detox in an effort to reclaim my own school of thought, amongst many other reasons, but predominantly because I feel like I am just overcome with messages every single day. I feel like I can't make a damn decision in my own life because I'm constantly distracted by what I'm seeing on social media. And this is not just from a purely like, I'm spending all the time scrolling and wasting my own hours, which is also a factor. But the main issue is that I am someone who has a lot of ideas. Like I'm a big ideas person. I have lots of passion projects that I'm always trying to work on outside of my 9 to 5. But every time I go on TikTok or every time I listen to a podcast or watch a YouTube video, I'm like, oh wait, I should go do that. Or this person had success doing this, so I should go do that too. Versus like listening to my own intuition and like my own guiding thought of what I should do with my life. I just feel like I'm constantly being influenced by everyone around me, and that doesn't feel very good. I feel like it's making me not productive in my own life or build a life that is truly like rooted in what I want and rooted in my own original thought. I feel like the internet, as amazing as it has been at like bringing us together, presenting new ideas, points of view, helping people feel less alone, like there's so many benefits, but it also has really just taken away original thought. And that is something that I've taken issue with for a very long time, but it's only now that I'm realizing how huge of an impact it has in my own life. I mean, this extends to every decision of our lives, right? It extends into how we see the world, how we see dating, how we see career, how we see our relationships, our friendships. I mean, like, you see something online about how someone's life looks and you're like, that's what mine should look like. When in reality, there's so many different flavors of life. And I think that what's happened online is like, we've all morphed into one type of life. I don't know, it's like not representing different types of people and not representing the average person, which is where I have a lot of issue with the internet. This video is going to be very rambly, by the way. This is just my thoughts, my stream of consciousness on why a digital detox is valuable. But I don't know. I think that's my biggest issue with a lot of like what I see on social media and represented on the internet is it doesn't show the average person. And I recognize that like the average person may start off on social media and then they get paid so much that they venture into this full-time social media world. But I think there's so much value in just seeing the normalcy, seeing the average person's house, the average person's finances, the average person's job, the average person's face. I think that this presentation of life online necessitates breaks. And I just was starting to feel like I was ready for a break. I think the signs of why I knew it was time for a digital detox, and actually I think that like the universe called me to it, not to sound like super woo-woo, but it was last Thursday, the night before the Lion's Gate, which if you know astrology, August 8th is one of the best days to manifest of the year because it is Lion's Gate portal. I don't know all the reasons of why that is so meaningful, but it is. And the night before that, I was feeling so drained and overwhelmed from life. I had a really heavy brain fog. I was just feeling like, I don't know where to do next. Like, I'm the kind of person that's constantly spinning of like, how can I make my life better? But then I end up like caught in fear and never acting on anything. Like I just continue on my very traditional path, which there's nothing wrong with that either. I just feel like there's an entrepreneurial itch in me that I cannot figure out how to act on. So anyways, I was feeling very brain foggy, and I was like, I need to go for a walk and I need to leave my phone at home. Well, actually no, I didn't leave it at home, but I didn't bring AirPods, which is rare for me. Every time I leave the house I have AirPods in my ears because I live in a city and it's loud. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch the water and just sit there by myself. Nothing in my ears, nothing that I'm looking at, just enjoy the water. And I stared out at the Charles River and the sun was like glowing on me. I was just feeling very at peace, and I felt like the exhaustion just like exit my body. And then I had this thought of like, I need to delete all of my social media apps. So I did it right then and there. TikTok, Instagram, Reddit. Those are my 3 that I'm like on all the time. And it became so toxic, those apps. I am telling you, I would wake up every single morning and open Reddit, and I would read pages about, I for some reason was on Henry Finance, which is like high earning, not rich yet. I don't even think I'm in an income bracket to constitute for that sub, because these people are making like $500,000 a year, if not more, as a household income. And I was like reading about all these people's salaries and their like investments, and I was just feeling like shit about myself. And then I would read snark pages on people that I love on YouTube. These are people I really actually enjoy watching, but for some reason it like made me feel better to read snark pages. I would never post on the snark pages, but I would read them just for fun. And I was like, this feels awful. Why am I doing this? When I actually like the people and I disagree with a lot of these comments. So anyways, I would read these toxic threads on Reddit, and I would get suggested Reddit pages that were like, roast me, like, or rate me. And I'm like, why am I looking at this awful stuff? So Reddit's bad. Instagram and TikTok, just constant like, and I'd say I'm not even the worst. I feel like I'm pretty good about like not watching a ton of those things. But every time I got sucked into like a spiral of just clicking videos, I felt awful about myself. And not only that, but again, I would get distracted about my own life. I would see a TikTok that was like, out here starting a business making flowers, and I have a flower cart and I bring them to events, and I'd be like, oh, well, I need to go start that kind of business. Or I own a coffee cart and I go to hospitals in the middle of the night and I sell coffee to nurses. And I was like, well, that's a great idea. I should go do that. And I just like could never stay on one track because I was constantly being pulled into other people's ideas. So that was one big issue. And then also obviously comparison. Like I just would feel awful about myself because I would compare myself to everyone else's lives on TikTok. How pretty they are, how amazing their wedding looked, which I got married this year. Wedding comparison was just such a toxic world to be in. And I put myself there. I would watch the wedding talk every single day. Wedding comparison, I would be jealous of people's lifestyles. I'm very like attracted to novelty. So I would see someone who was living in Maine and like lived in a Maine suburb and would go paddleboarding on the weekends and like boating. I was like, I want that life. And then I would see someone who was all fabulous, living their like urban life in London. I'd be like, I want that life. And I just feel like it's kind of like the Midnight Library. I just wanted everyone else's lives except for my own. And I wasn't investing that time back into making my own life. And I didn't have the focus to make my own life better because I was consuming everyone else's ideas of what life should look like. So I realized that, thank God I had this moment of realization. I realized that, and I was like, I have no original ideas anymore. And the ideas that I do have that come to me through intuition, through like quiet reflection and just deep desire, I am putting to the back burner because I see other people's ideas of what success looks like or how to build a business or make money versus what I actually want to do with my time. And this extends to YouTube and podcasts. Those are also offenders, and I have not given those up yet. I have gone 5 days without Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, but I have not gone 5 days without YouTube and podcasting. And this leads me to this morning when I was listening to a Bigger Pockets Money podcast. I love financial podcasts. It's like my favorite thing. But I was listening to a story of a woman named Hala Taha, and she is just like a fiery, driven, ambitious, successful woman who just like was amazing in every way. And she just like built this amazing career. I feel like she was just like so aggressive and just like building what she wanted and not waiting. She just did. And I'm the opposite of a doer. I'm like a thinker. And she's also fucking gorgeous. So I was like comparing myself there. And I just was like finding myself being like, wow, maybe I should do what she does. Like she got her MBA, she had this amazing corporate career, but then she started a podcast and she's entrepreneurial at the same time. And this is where I think I am learning, because I actually was starting to feel like shit. And I was like, wait, this is exactly why I wanted to delete social media, because I don't want to get distracted by other people's ideas of success or how they got to success. I want my own formula. This almost derailed me from the thing that I was already thinking of doing. And I was feeling like shit about comparing myself. So it was a double whammy of like, I feel horrible about myself now. And I am now distracted and thinking I should go do what this woman did for success versus my own formula. So I think that's growth, that I recognized it in the moment and stopped the pattern. But it also made me think that I need to delete podcasts probably, or limit my podcast consumption, because it just doesn't help me to have my own ideas and stay focused on those ideas and feel good about myself. So that's kind of the full reason, like one of the big reasons of why I knew it was time to delete social media. I think that the third reason, aside from comparison and aside from not having original thought / getting distracted by other people's ideas, the third reason was really that it was taking away from my life. So there's the obvious thing that I think all go through, which is like you're numbing yourself out in your phone and like losing hours, losing minutes, losing hours. But I also found myself wanting to listen to like podcasts over going for a walk with my partner, which sounds awful, but it's true. Like he would be like, do you want to go for a walk together? And I'd be like, I have a really good podcast I want to listen to though. And I'm like, what the fuck, Jess? Like I should go for a walk with my husband. Like what am I doing? So that, and it took me a long time to realize that's kind of messed up, but lately when I was like, I feel like I don't have enough time for my loved ones, it just seemed like the easiest cut was social media. So, and I'm lumping podcasts into social media because to an extent it is. So that didn't feel very good. And I feel like, yeah, I spent a lot of time at home watching TikTok versus talking to my partner. And he's not innocent either. Like that man goes on Reels and he spends a lot of time scrolling Reels. And I think that does distract from his ability to listen to me also. So it's not, we're both a little guilty of this. But I think that's a really important reason to cut it out. If not the most important reason. It's like, I want to have a life where I'm living in the moment and enjoying moments with my loved ones and not choosing to consume social media and like have these parasocial relationships versus hanging out with my partner. I think it all constitutes a break. I also think the brain fog I was dealing with was a lot due to social media as well, because you're kind of just like numbing your brain out versus doing something that's actually restorative, such as reading a book, going for a walk, going to play pickleball, socializing, doing a puzzle. Like there's so many things I could be doing that would actually be good brain rest versus just like staring at a screen. So all that said, I think I have some really good and compelling reasons to not be on social media. I feel like I have a strong why, which I think if you're going to do a digital detox, you need to have a strong why to motivate you. And I think everyone can just do it however they want. For me, I think it is going to be like definitely cold turkey, no TikTok, Reddit, or Instagram for a month, which is so hard, by the way, because I'm getting my wedding photos and videos back in the next week. And I'm like, I want to post them, but like, let's resist. But I think I also need to probably do some sort of limitation with YouTube and podcasting. I'm excited to check back in a month and just see how I feel and see how my life has changed. I really want to like track this closely. And see how my life improves without being on these platforms. So yeah, that's the 101, and I'm excited for others to maybe see this and have a wake-up call themselves. I think people aren't really always super conscious of these things. So I think it's important to sometimes make the unconscious conscious and take control back in your life where you can. So that's it for today. I'll circle back in a month on this one.